Hey guys, yeah, back on the GS, yes, and what a difference. 'Cause I've been riding the Yamaha, I don't know, for about 3-4 days now, even in the cold weather, getting on this thing, what a difference. You know, you don't realize the difference in bikes. Obviously, there's a big difference in the bikes because they're just different bikes, but as soon as I got on this bike, I felt like I was in my comfy chair. I mean, it was just so noticeable, and it's so obvious too, obviously, right? Obviously, it's obvious. Oh my God. And yeah, but I just wanted to compare them, you know. I figured, what the hell, I got to run some errands, put the camera on, and we'll do this video and compare the two bikes. It's definitely a yin-yang deal. When you're on that bike, you feel like you're in a sports car, no doubt about it. Your legs are up higher. The first thing I noticed is that, and you know, the legs were up higher. You know, I went to put my feet down and I put them towards the back, and you know, there's no pegs that back there, obviously. And yeah, so it's let me see, how am I going to put this? It's definitely, it's not a bad thing at all. It's just a totally different thing. You know, it's not like, oh my God, it's a terrible bike to ride. It's absolutely a fun bike to ride. It's just like a sports car or a hot rod, not a hot rod, a roadster. Just you know, everything's tight and compact, and then you get on this, and I never considered this bike big. A lot of people do, but not me. I don't consider it a big bike. But the difference when you get on the bike, obviously this is a bigger bike. But handling wise, and well, I'm just going to go through. We'll go through different things of the difference between an FZ1 and a GS, which is dramatic, and definitely not in a bad way. Definitely not in a bad way. Let me just collect my thoughts. Okay, yeah, so now just leaving from that stop sign, which I didn't stop, the clutch is just, I guess maybe because this motor makes more torque, and I'm so used to it, I never think about stalling or anything. And I'm just so used to it. So you tend to have to give it a different type of throttle, obviously, when you're, well, I'm going to use that word all the time now, when you're, you know, when you're coming off a stop sign or whatever. Yeah, so that's a major difference there to get used to. I know I'll get used to it, not a big deal. The clutch is also a little heavier on the FZ1, and this is extremely light. But so that's one deal. And then the next one would be with the handling. Now this bike handles super. In fact, it's hard to say this. It almost feels like it's lighter flicking it back and forth then. I guess because the tire's not as big on this bike. It's a 170 as opposed to 190. But but that bike doesn't sacrifice handling. I'm not going to say it's hard to put it in, put the, you know, into the turn, because it's not, and it leans over. It's just a different lean. So I guess the theme of this is it's different. You know, the bike is different, not bad, but different. So yeah, this bike feels so agile, even though it's a bigger bike. It's an amazing bike, the GS, absolutely amazing. And there's no way, unless some catastrophic thing happens, I'm getting rid of this GS and not having a GS, because this bike is just so much more fun. I'm sorry, this bike is so much, that's the wrong saying. This bike has so much that it can give in every aspect. The only thing it's lacking, I think, which that the FZ1 absolutely handles, that is the top end speed. I've gotten to 136, and she's got more in it, and it's like, I don't know how these kids hold on to it, man. The seat is flat, kind of flat, not totally flat. And when you get to 7,000 RPM, like if I'm doing 50 miles an hour in the FZ1, and I just crank that throttle, it goes into a power wheel stand, and man, it's hard to hold on to. You just keep sliding back and back, and there's nothing to stop you. With the GS has that little lip. I know they make seats for the I don't know if I'm going to, that's another $500 for a seat. I just don't see it, but I tell you got to get used to it. It's hard to hold on to that bike. Up to 7,000 is fine, but man, when that thing goes past 7,000, it just pulls like unbelievably. And Yeah, it just pulls so hard. So I would say it doesn't have the torque. So if I'm cruising around like, you know, in 4th gear in here, and you're in 4th gear doing the same mile an hour, and I go to pass somebody, the GS feels quicker. It just feels quicker. It just has that much more torque. But once you get that thing, if you're in the right gear, the FZ1's faster. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That thing is just a rocket ship, as long as you're a 7,000 above. And supposedly, after you tune them, because Yamaha really restricts the RPM, the power in the low RPMs and the low gears, and once you have it tuned, it takes care of all that. They say it's a rocket ship everywhere. So I'd be interested if I ever decide to go with a tune, what the difference would be. Anyway, so that's it for performance-wise. I think let's talk about ride quality. And I'm really shocked how well that bike soaks up the bumps. Yeah, it's stiffer, but nowhere near jarring to your back or anything like that. It's very compliant. It doesn't bounce all over the place. Some people say it's too soft for spirited riding, but I didn't find that. Obviously, my skill level is not going to be at the track. I don't need a really stiff, firm suspension. I like it that way. So the ride quality, I think, is just super. Seating position. Yes, your legs are up in the back, where, you know, and I thought I wouldn't be able to get used to it, but I have in the short. I put like 200 miles on the bike, and I'm kind of liking it. The bars, you lean forward a little bit, but not in an annoying way whatsoever. They look like drag bars because they're pretty straight, but they have risers on them, so you're really in a great position. So I'm happy with the position. To me, it's an easy. I can go 100 mile, 200 mile run on that bike with no problem. I would feel definitely okay. Yeah, is cold weather riding. You feel everything on that bike. On the obviously, I'm going to get away from that word. You put I put a little screen on it, but it doesn't help much. I did it more for aesthetics and to maybe protect my phone and my camera a little bit. I get the wind over it, and you won't get any scratches or things hitting it. Anyway, but you feel it. You know, there's I don't feel any heat coming off the engine, so you don't get any warmth there. No heated grips, no wind protection. Right now, it's 50 degrees. I don't even have I have my cold weather jacket on, but I don't have any crazy layers, and I just have my regular riding jeans and my regular gloves, and with the heated grips, and I'm fine. With the FZ1, it's I went out yesterday and did a couple of pulls. You see my shorts. I threw on my short videos. I put on my GoPro to do that, and that was fun, but man, it was cold. So this is just absolutely a much better bike in cold weather. No ifs, ands, or buts. Winter weather riding, it's just a no-brainer. This is the bike I want to be on. Oops, little squirrel smushed. And so I guess I covered them all. The weather, the handling, the power. Like I said, I take this bike from like if we're going from a 30 mile an hour roll, I think the GS is going to be up. It's going to stay with the FZ1 until you get to about 80, and then the FZ1 is just going to just absolutely walk away. The bike definitely brings out the hooligan in you. It sounds super. From the factory, it came with the, not from the factory, where I bought it, the guy had a long carbon fiber muffler, 18 inches long. I didn't really like it much, the way it looked, so I bought a shorter one by Lextech, and it's kind of like, looks like a Yoshimura, but it comes from England. It's quality. It's not, you know, that Chinese crap, and it sounds really good. And I ran with the baffle in and the baffle out. I think my last video I had the baffle in, but the last 2 times I've had the baffle out. I think I'm going to leave the baffle out. It's much more fun. It sounds good. The damn thing goes right up to 12,000 if you wanted to. I think it makes peak power just below 11. Yeah, it's absolutely a blast. I love this. I haven't ridden an inline 4 in a long time with any power, and it's so much fun. It goes right up. Vibration wise, you don't feel much at all in the bars. I put the factory bar and weights back on it. I felt a little vibration before I put them back on, and I don't feel anything now. Not annoying, but you can feel it. Yeah, it's definitely a cool bike. It brings the hooligan out on you. But when I get back on the GS, it's like an old pair of jeans. It's just so comfortable, and yet you're not giving anything up, again, when you want to be sporty and when you want to do stupid stuff. And from 0 to 100, it's an absolute beast. So there's no way that I would sell my bike just to ride the FZ1 all the time. There's just no way. That FZ1 is going to be more for warm weather. I mean, I'll take it out once in a while when it's cold, but it's going to be more for the warmer weather. I'll probably take it to Florida when I go to the races, because I'll be down in Florida, it'll be warm. And yeah, I just think it's going to be a fun bike. You know, I want to go ride with my buddies, James and Alan. They have similar type bikes, naked bikes, and I'll probably take that out instead of the GS. But the GS is the go-to bike to do everything. If I had to, you know, if I had to choose between the two, obviously I'm going to take the GS. One more thing between the GS and the FZ1 is technology. There is none. No technology whatsoever. No anti-lock, no traction control. Your traction control is right here in your fingers on your brake. That's your traction control. You have to control it with your fingers. And oh, that was nice. That was an old, it was an old Ducati, like a racing type bike. Not a race bike, but you know, a sport bike, but an older one. That was cool. And your traction control, well, that's in your throttle right here. You control your traction control. So that's it. It's got nothing like that, but it stops really good. The front brake the rear brake not as good as the GS, but the front brake is good. I haven't locked it up, but man, it slows you down. And what I noticed is what I thought was really, really good, a good feature about it, and I don't know, I've never heard anybody talk about this, but I guess maybe all sport bikes and hyper nakeds are the same, but there was very little nosedive when I hit the brakes, because I want to test how hard I can pull the brake handle. And there was very little. And I was really shocked that it was very controllable. Anyway, yeah, so no technology in the bike except for fuel injection. I'd like to do another review on the bike, because I made a change that is absolutely phenomenal change. Just a great change. I put a quick shifter in it. And my God, oh my God, it just makes the bike 100 times more fun shifting. Because now I don't think about the clutch. I just roll that throttle and bang through the gears, and that motor just zings up with the exhaust and with the baffle out. Oh my God, it's just, it's amazing. I'm an old freaking dude, and I feel like a kid on that thing. I just feel like I'm a kid having a blast. My friends tell me I'm nuts. Why do you need a bike so fast? And I don't listen to them, because I don't really care. I mean, I care about my friends, but I don't care for that opinion, because I'm going to do what I want to do. If I get hurt, I get hurt. That's just the way it is. But I'm having a good time meanwhile, and that's all important to me right now, is just having a good time. And man, am I having a good time. So, all right, guys, I'm getting a little aggravated with this guy in front of me. If I can think of anything else, I'll talk to you about it. I just wanted to let you know the difference between the bikes. They're major, but they're not. Let's see if hopefully this. Oh, damn, this guy. He's turning with me. Guys, Kenny's getting freaking aggravated. But whatever. So yeah, let me get back to the subject. So yeah, so it's they're there are major differences, but it's not major differences where they're bad. They're good. The FZ1 has its strong points, huge strong points, and obviously the GS has its strong points. So, all right, guys, that's it for now, and I'll be back soon.